all of these prosecutors, I mean, the lies, the corruption, it's all coming out, guys. And the truth has to come out. And I think that's what we're seeing. Fulton County Judge Ural Glanville, his goose is cooked, guys, as a new petition has been submitted to recuse him as the judge. Now, this is, of course, in relation to the YSL RICO trial of rapper Young Thug, and a trial that seems to be biased, as the defense team has alleged that the judge is a part of the prosecution. This is illegal, guys. If the judge is working with the prosecution, that's not legal. The judge is supposed to be a neutral party, unbiased. Now, obviously, this kind of practice is not allowed. The judge is supposed to be impartial to both sides, whether it's the defense with Brian Steele and YSL Young Thug, or if it's the prosecution, DA Fani Willis's office. He's supposed to be impartial. He's supposed to not care or have any kind of personal ties. He's not supposed to be showing any kind of favoritism to either side. Now, we're talking again about Fulton County, and we've seen this kind of behavior time and time again. It's getting to be really routine here. And it's about time that we actually see something done about this here. By the way, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you guys. But we're also talking about the District Attorney Fani Willis and her office, because it's them who are supposedly working with this judge here. Now, they tried to keep it a secret, but like I said, the truth tends to come out. Unluckily for them, it came out before the trial even ended. And so this has led a lot of people calling for Judge Glanville to go ahead and step down, man. This is beyond okay. This is clearly a conflict of interest, because he's shown us that he is possibly working with the prosecution team, that he's possibly an accessory and possible witness intimidation as well. The list goes on and on and on. However, he remains very defiant and says that he's not going to go anywhere, even though he was visibly shaken when he was confronted by the defense attorney, Brian Steele, about all of these allegations. Now, I know you guys remember how he stood up. The judge stood up and practically shouted at Steele to reveal his source. And he pretty much admitted that the conversation happened, because why else would he say, unless you were in my chambers, you wouldn't know about any of this? So it's kind of like an admission of guilt, if you ask me. But yeah, so Steele wanted him to reveal his source. Brian Steele, he was unshaken. I mean, honestly, that's the kind of guy you want as your lawyer. This guy did not get weak in the knees and succumb to the fear of the judge's threats. And yet it's still pretty clear that the judge is not stepping down, at least not voluntarily. But take a listen to what's happening right now.
The judge overseeing the YSL trial says he's not going anywhere. Atlanta rapper Young Thug's attorney tried to remove Judge Ural Glanville from the organized crime trial, accusing the judge of joining the prosecutor's team. Atlanta News First reporter Rachel Aragon takes us inside the courtroom.
Defense attorney Brian Steele filed a motion to have the judge removed from this case. He claims the current judge is biased against his client, Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. rapper Young Thug. The judge overseeing the YSL RICO trial denying the motion to recuse himself from the case.
I've consumed everything on it, and that doesn't change my ruling at this point in time, respectfully.
The motion, filed by rapper Young Thug's attorney Brian Steele, largely centers around the meeting that occurred earlier this month between the judge, prosecutors, and a key witness. Steele alleging the private meeting was improper and that defense attorneys were not notified about it.
How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers?
Steele's refusal to divulge who told him about the conversations that occurred during that meeting, prompting the judge to hold Steele in contempt and give him jail time.
So I've added this court to the witness list.
While the judge plans to stay on this case, Steele says he plans to ask witness Kenneth Copeland about that private meeting during cross-examination.
When that day comes, I'm going to ask him about how much pressure, if any, the court put on him. And you're going to be the one instructing the jury. And I just can't imagine how that's fair to Mr. Williams.
And the judge also indicated today that he will likely reschedule that June 25th hearing pertaining.
So, guys, that was, to me, that was a threat from Brian Steele, YSL Young Thug's attorney. But now this kind of verified emergency petition of writ of mandamus was filed by DeMonte Kendrick, aka Yacht Gotti. Now, it was filed with the Fulton County Superior Court. And as you guys might know already, it's related to this ex parte conversation that Judge Glanville had with the prosecution and a key witness, which makes a lot of sense as to the judge's anger when he tried to, put Brian Steele in jail. Now, he knew that this secret conversation with Fani Willis's team was wrong. I mean, the judge is not dumb. And he knew for a fact that it was going to cause a lot of problems down the road. And he's starting to feel some of these problems already. Now, he understood that this alone would have multiple people calling for his resignation, calling for his removal, his disqualification. But his recusal, this new petition is similar to what we've seen with Brian Steele. It's a little bit lengthy, so I'm going to try to cut it down and give you guys the cliff notes. But basically, the secret meeting is the main focus here. An ex parte communication, an ex parte conversation that was not done in the presence of the defense team. They also were not even notified that this thing even happened. And so the petition also alleges serious, not just a little bit, serious breach of the Georgia Code of Conduct, the Georgia Code of Judicial Conduct, saying that Judge Glanville purposefully tried to hide this conversation from the defense team. Now, a huge red flag for any court proceeding, guys. Now, which also begs the question, if the trial is fair for Young Thug, can you even get a fair trial at this point? And this reminds us of how DA Fani Willis tried to keep a cork on her relationship with her lead prosecutor. They were trying so hard to keep it a secret because she and Nathan Wade knew that it was a conflict of interest. And that could effectively have a huge impact on the election interference case against Donald Trump. And so that's why we are where we are right now. This is why the case is on pause and why Fani Willis is pissed beyond imagination. So getting back to this petition, there's a few things that they do want to happen here. Now, one of those things is, the appointment of an unbiased judge. Get this judge out of here, recuse him, boot him, fire him, do whatever you need to do to get him off the case. That's what they want to do here. They feel as if this secret meeting with Fani Willis's team is just too much. That this cries of corruption, and it shows that the judge is working against the defense. That's not cool. They also note that this particular motion meets all of the requirements of the USCR 25.1, 25.2, and 25.3, which means that this case should be assigned to another judge for consideration. And it's also written here that they want the entire transcript to be provided. Now, as you guys might remember, Judge Glanville, he said that it is possible that he provides portions, pieces, nibbles, crumbs of this ex parte conversation. The defense team argues that the entire transcript, not just these breadcrumbs, should be provided with no redactions. Now, the logic is that they should be privy to whatever is happening in this meeting because they have to figure out how are they going to defend their client in court. How are you going to defend your client if you only have parts of the conversations, pieces, right? Now, Glanville, he already said that he doesn't plan on giving the defense team this entire meeting's conversation. Now, you got to wonder, is it because he did something illegal here, or is it because he helped the prosecution team intimidate a key witness? I mean, you got to wonder, why not just provide this information? Why was this kept a secret? Why did the defense attorney, Brian Steele, have to discover this conversation through whatever means he did discover it? Delray Manis, appreciate the support for the big five, my friend. No comment, but I do appreciate the support. Thank you so much. But this is very interesting. Dan Wood, thank you so much, my friend, for the big 20 twin. Hey, brother, how do you feel about the debate and Now they're looking to replace Biden. As much as I hate to say this, Michelle Obama will come out as the DNC choice for the president and run against Trump. Man, you opened up a can of worms, sir. What do I think about the debate? Well, if I'm keeping it a buck, I would definitely say that given how weak and feeble and delusional and basically with Biden losing his scruples, as my grandmother likes to say, his mental faculties are in a decline. I had a buddy of mine share me a video of Biden about 15, maybe 20 years ago. It was probably about 15 years ago. Biden was a much different person. His ability to speak back then, his ability to recall facts and debate was a lot stronger. He was a lot sharper back then, and nothing against him. This happens with age. But the thing is, if you're running for president, you're going to be scrutinized. And the question is, who's a better fit for America, right? Now, with all that being said, I actually felt like Biden did a better job than I thought he was going to do. I really thought he was going to do way worse. Now, don't get me wrong. He didn't do very good. He was spacing off. I mean, I felt like just looking at his face and the way his eyes would kind of like wander or whatever, I felt like he was like drifting off, forgetting where he was. That's the way it looked. His ability to recall facts and to make coherent statements. I forget what he was actually saying at one point, but it was like he started off saying, like replying to or arguing back with Donald Trump's previous statement. And then somehow he lost his train of thought. And then he started congratulating himself on the progress that he made with Medicare. And I'm like, dang, man, like just watching this guy just wander into this abyss of nothingness. It was just really tragic. But and then like the post debate where Kamala Harris was being interviewed by Cooper Anderson about President Biden's debate, how well he did, the points he was making. Did she feel like he was a strong candidate? And of course, she had his back. But the thing is, even Kamala Harris had to admit the condition that he's in during that post-debate interview. This is not someone we really want to lead our country. And she said that there are other country leaders that call Biden for advice. And I just cannot buy that. I don't know how many other people are buying that. We have a crap ton of undecided voters, swing state voters. And I feel like if they've watched that debate, I don't think that it's going to be undecided anymore. I think this may end up being one of those things where even if they don't like Trump, they vote for someone who they just think is better than Biden. So, as they say, Trump may actually win votes for him being the lesser evil for those who don't like Biden. They don't really like Trump, but they like Biden less than they like Trump. So they'll just have to submit a vote in for Biden or for Trump, if that makes any sense. Michelle Obama, though, Michelle Obama. Well, it's funny because I actually saw Michelle Obama recently being interviewed, and they asked her if she would run for president, and she clearly did not give a definitive no. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She befuddled around, danced around the question, gave a response that really didn't answer the question. But to me, if you don't say a clear no, that means it's in the cards. So you want my take on it, Dan? That's my take on it in a nutshell. But yeah, but here's the thing. If Michelle Obama does run, I think she's got a tremendously greater chance of putting up a good fight against Donald Trump. So if she does replace Biden, this matchup gets even tighter. So, yeah, Michelle Obama would just be way more popular than Biden. She's way younger, much sharper. So it would be really interesting to see what happens. And the thing is if they're going to swap, if they're going to replace Biden, they have to do it now. I mean, if they're going to replace him, they've already waited so long. Like, they have to do it now. They can't wait any longer. So pay attention, guys. I think in the coming weeks, we're going to see some big changes. There's no way Biden's got 4 more years in the tank, even if they stole the election. So that's just my take. What's going on, Katalia? What's going on, all you guys? Jacob Bartlett, what's good, man? Jacob says, appreciate the Big Ten, my brother. So Jacob says, Ron, I say they put Biden in. I say they put Biden in so the shadow government can run the country without any interference. I believe they will try to do it again with their next candidate. Hey, that's another theory. You know, at the end of the day, a lot of these presidents, they're sitting in this box. They wear the presidential hat. But at the end of the day, it's like there's so much power behind them that's really governing the decisions that they make. So to your point, it would be easier to have shadow government. You know, I could see shadow government wanting to keep Biden in place because it's like, look, if I'm a member of the shadow government and I want certain policies to be promoted, then it's a lot easier if I have a canvas that I can just kind of like, you know, write in what I want to happen versus someone who actually has a brain and can articulate and can debate back with me and maybe even have their own agenda. So basically, if you have like an empty suit that can literally just carry out orders, it's way easier for the shadow government to get whatever they want, whatever that might be. So, keeping Biden where he is, having Kamala Harris replace him, which I think she would actually do worse than him. Believe it or not. I mean, Kamala Harris is younger. She's quicker, but the word salads don't really do her, you know, a whole lot of good. I do think that between Biden, Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama, Gavin Newsom, I actually would say that for the Democrats, I would say that the best pick out of them would probably be Michelle Obama to be able to possibly turn this thing around. But right now, Donald Trump's Trump train is so strong. I don't see it. But again, like I said, they would have to swap that guy out like quick, fast, in a hurry, like yesterday. So that's my take. But yeah, man, you know, getting back to it, you know. It looks like the judge in the YSL case and possibly Fani Willis's office may very well be intimidating the witness here. So the real question, though, is what happens next? You know, now if the court denies the requested relief in this motion to recuse the judge, the defendant will request that the court make specific factual findings and will likely submit that the judge should voluntarily recuse himself. Because if he doesn't do that, and if this case is not given to an unbiased judge, then that's the end game. That would be the end game. Like, they would literally request for a mistrial as the defendants are not getting a fair trial. And then this is based on their constitutional right for due process. And it's under the Sixth Amendment, you know, but a lot of people believe that Judge Glanville's not going to do a thing, that he's just going to continue to remain as the judge in this case, even though the vast majority of onlookers, they can see what's going on. You know, they can see the corruption, which again is eerily similar to what DA Fani Willis is doing. You know, now I'm not sure if it's the norm in Fulton County to have, you know, this kind of corruption within the justice system, but, you know, these officials, they're certainly not making it look any better, you know? And I guess it kind of explains why Donald Trump's team is also calling for Fani Willis to be disqualified for her misconduct. They've raised they've actually raised this in the Georgia Supreme Court, or excuse me, they raised this in the Georgia Court of Appeals, and they're pretty confident that the DA is going to end up getting removed from the Georgia election interference case against Trump, which kind of reminds me, Trump's still pushing for this presidential immunity in office. And based on the Supreme Court's recent decision, if you guys hadn't seen my recent video, check it out. It looks like this recent Supreme Court decision is going to possibly clear the way and at least knock out several charges, if not entire cases, for Donald Trump. It looks like this recent Supreme Court hearing may actually wipe out the court case against Jack Smith. So we're going to have to pay very, very close attention. There's actually more details about the ruling in the Supreme Court that we're expecting to hear on Monday. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. Again, if you haven't already, do subscribe, hit the like button. Jacob Bartlett, appreciate the big 5, my friend. Biden would have to step aside or the party would eat itself. Faux Biden has to release his delegates. Man, the party's not in good shape. The party's reputation is tarnished beyond relief. The lies that are being promoted, it's unreal. It is absolutely unreal. And how much they've been getting away with. But, if Trump gets in office, I think, regardless of what he said during the debate, I do think that there's going to be some revenge. I think there's going to be some revenge. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one.